Greetings, everyone. Hawksblood here, calling from the big island of Hawaii. I'm starting a little early. If you come in late, no problem. I'm going to go over some things before I get into anything really heavy duty. But just about everything in life right now is pretty hardcore. In my viewpoint, everybody has their own viewpoint. Everybody has their own ideas. Whether they're right or wrong, that's their choice to find out sooner or later. All right. Now, anybody, let me just put this link out there for everybody else. If anybody wants to come on. All right, people. The link's up. If it should be on the site. If you do want to come on, just click on that, and you got to probably sign in. I never did it the opposite way, so I don't know. But it shouldn't be that complicated. So, people, as you know, we got lots of serious things going on in the world today, especially with this virus, or whatever you want to call it. I call it trouble. All right. Now, you're going to hear stories from every end of it, from doctors, lawyers, from policemen, from nurses, people that have the virus, people that have family that had it. All right. It's all over. It's all over the world. It's affecting every country. And now they're talking about another breakaway virus from the virus, which will hit even harder. All right. Are you going to listen to the stories out there? Or are you going to get involved with what you should do to prevent yourself from getting in trouble? Well, I'll tell you this. All the facts, and I'm not making anything up. I hope they can't attack me for saying the truth, which they usually can. But the truth's out there, people. Go into the government sites. And they have to classify what the virus is, what it's made from, what it does to the body, to the blood, and all those kind of things. The same as the vaccine. All right. There's trouble with that. There's a lot of trouble going on with that. And I'm only going to say personal people that I know directly, like my partner, who had the shots. She had 2 of them. And she was deathly sick for 2.5 weeks, almost died. And on top of that, a month later, she had a heart attack. Her heart stopped. She died 3 times in the hospital. Now she has a pacemaker. And that's all within a couple months. My brother is coming down with dementia rather fast. I mean, he had sugar diabetes. And the truth of that is there's medicine that they're giving you that actually causes or creates that symptom within the body. And obviously they won't take care of it because it's part of the medicine that you have to take. So there's a lot of things as far as the medicine world's going. I don't know if you notice how bad they're cracking down on giving senior people the medicines they need to stay alive, to deal without the pain and suffering that they're going through. Why people are committing suicide more so than not. Why we're in such a sad place right now. All right, people. I've been involved with the UFO world since I was 6 years old. I've been involved in spiritualism, spiritual quest, and all those words by the time I was 8. All right, by the time I was 14, I was already on the verge of finding a new religion. I was a Protestant. I was brought up a Protestant. I went to church every Sunday and all those kind of things. Not saying I learned anything that I felt was important to me or to my awareness, but over that time frame, I had incredible experiences that helped me know the difference. Now, this is not going to be a religious show, even though you might find parts of it as that. And why I say that, if I mention God, I mention Jesus, I mention Moses, Buddha, okay, it's a religion. No, they're people. Everybody's a person. We are not a religion, all right? We are a people. We create the wording religion because all right, you believe in modern love. Good. All right, here's the thing. As we move forward, people are going to say love's the most important thing, and that's all you're going to hear over and over by all the New Age speakers and everybody else along the way. People claiming to talk to God, people claiming this, that, and the other thing. Well, I'm claiming a lot of things myself, but I don't expect anybody to believe it, and I'm not forcing you to believe it. I'm just telling you the truth. You can find it or look for it if you want it. The truth is there, and it doesn't change, people. Religions change it, people change it, but what spirit is, what you are, doesn't change. All right, the concept of what God is doesn't change. Only the perception of most people's perception of it changes constantly. And I think it's becoming more decreased than increasing as far as awareness of what God truly is. I'm doing a workshop, and in that workshop, I'm going to be going to every level of awareness, steps on each one of them, where it takes you, where you go, and the word karma, reincarnation, death, all those words. I'm going to get into it. Demons, angels. I talk about aliens at the very end. I don't want to keep that too close to the middle part of what I'm doing. The same as today. Aliens are part of this as well. They've been here. They destroyed the planet greatly. And, for me, it's so hard. Listen to these people, big name people, rich millionaires, rich billionaires, big egotistical people saying these incredible things and what they feel is important. Now, remember, everybody has a viewpoint. Whether the viewpoint is real or not to the world doesn't matter to the person that thinks they have it, because they're going to try to live their life on their viewpoint, right or wrong. Is there an accepted right or wrong? Not really. If you just try to have 100 people describe their definition of love, you would get different aspects and comments about it. But does anyone truly understand love? I go into that in my workshop, because right now people assume about religions. They take what they want, what they don't want, they discard. A lot of people believe in angels, all right, but they don't believe in demons. A lot of people say that they believe there's aliens out there, but they don't believe they're here. And then we got the government. We got these whistleblowers all talking about, well, maybe they're a UFO. Maybe they're a UFO. Maybe they're from some other world. Maybe, all these maybes, but they won't guarantee a statement that say, okay, they are from another world. And the facts are there. I have my own personal facts, people. So I can only talk about direct experience that I had, things that I know are 100% true, and I am responsible to God only, to a real God, not to a man-made God, not to an idea of a God, but to what God really is. And it is probably not even close to anything you perceive it to be. If you have a question, please come on or put it in the chat room. It's hard for me to read and talk at the same time, but if you want to come on, the link should be there. You're mixing a lot of words together. Love, a perception that man created, usually has to do with two things: two men, two women, men and women, men and children, men and animals. All right, and that's where the concept of love comes from. But it doesn't come from the main source of where love comes from. So obviously, it can't be 100% even close to the truth, which I get into, and I'll get into it, but not right now, maybe not today. I'm doing this workshop. I'm going through a lot with my partner. She's out of the hospital, and I'm trying to take care of her right now and dealing with all the things she's going through. It's not easy, monitoring her and taking her to the doctor all the time and things like that. I'm glad she's alive. I'm glad she's here. She died 3 times. The doctor said she's so lucky to be here. All right. I had 5 death experiences in my life. Each one of them brought me closer. Each one brought me closer to what I was searching for. The truth. The truth about life, about God, about death, and all those other words. Religion do not talk about it. They mention God in an abstract way. They talk about Jesus in an abstract way. And they talk about a lot of things. The Muslims talk about Muhammad. all right, and his angel he worked with, all in an abstract way. I did all my research. I studied 14 religions, and then I realized they have very little truth, and they give you very little to work with to help you become more spiritually aware. Because there's very few souls on this planet that are really spiritually aware. If you become that, people, right from the start, I'm going to tell you this. You will not be on planet Earth. There would be no reason for you to stay here. Now, the biggest contradiction, which you're going to probably hate when I say it today, and please, I'm saying this from the heart, my truth, the God that I follow, believe in, and know. All right, and there is only one. I mean, there's deities. There's all kinds of other words that people worship and pray to and all that. Deities are cool, but they're not God. And our man's definition is super powerful, so that means just about anything could be God. And now that we're moving, I'm just trying to read what's on, what's going on. All right, people. All right, here's the thing. God that man perceives to be is a programmed idea that people created and accepted. Now, basically, the first idea of a singular God was Moses and his interpretation. Now, hold on one second. All right, I don't know who was in there, but they're out right now. Sorry, people. When you talk about God, you get a lot of people angry, a lot of people different ways. But I'm not here to lie. I'm not here to make stories up. I'm not going here to make life better for you. All right. When we start talking about the idea of what God is, the first thing I tell people when I do a workshop, when I do a lecture, when I talk about God, I always make them do a simple little technique. It takes, 5 minutes, an hour, as long as you want to put into it, to understand what you believe God is. All right? And the best way to do that is make a list on two sides, what you believe God to be and what you believe God isn't. And you can't put God is everything, because then you don't have to write anything else. And then try to write what God isn't. God is all things. Well, that's your perception. Man creates things that's not related to God itself. All right. I'm not going to get into it in detail, but the concept that man has of God is the forgiving, loving, compassionate God, which is so far from mainstream truth. But man creates everything to protect men. All right. Man will defend himself in court and every other way in life. Men will stick together to protect men. It's sad, but it's been like that for 30,000 years. All right. Now, things you might not want to believe or understand or accept is up to you. But reincarnation is real, and they are proving it in many ways now. And some people are lucky to find their past life or understand their past life and things like that. But you reincarnate many times. So there's a lot of understanding and learning that you can do with that alone. How much karma you created in each lifetime. Also, how many families you had during your time on planet Earth. When you reincarnate, you usually reincarnate back to planet Earth. I'm not saying you were originally here. You could have came from some other world and reincarnated into this world. But when you come here, you usually stay here until you attain awareness and then you leave. But that's not the concept that aliens want to feed us. It's not the concept that some programmed people want to feed us. Rich people want us to believe that it's really important that we go to Mars, we go to Venus. I mean, do you want to know that there's a race on Venus, which there is? That's another thing. Do you want to believe it? Now, here's something I'm going to say. There's two ways to live life. Believe what you believe or disbelieve what you believe. If you believe in God, you believe in God. If you don't believe in God, you don't believe in God. But For anything you don't believe in means you don't believe in anything. Because if you believe in God, you believe in angels, you believe in demons, you believe in reincarnation, you believe death, you believe all those words. But if you don't believe in God and you think you're a God, you believe in nothing but ego, meaning what you think and what you think you can create. The biggest issue right now coming out is the idea of superpowers. It's coming out in the psychic world, it's coming out in the UFO world. It was in the Army, Navy, Marines, remote viewing, astral projection, and things like that. Then psychic abilities themselves. Well, people, psychic abilities were incredible when we first received them. All right, meaning in the beginning of time, all right, when we first came here, as when Atlantis was here, we all had 32 psychic abilities. Jesus didn't even use all 32 of them, but we had 32 of them, and we used them in Atlantis. Meaning, clairvoyancy, audience, there's a lot of words that I can't even pronounce them right now, but deja vu and things like that. All right. Healing is more closer to a man-made word right now. All right. Energy transfer and bilocation and all those kind of words. All right, we had them all. But the serious problem is they were taken away. Why were they taken away? Well, let's go back to the beginning of time when, all right, here's the truth, people. You can believe aliens, you can believe scientists, you can believe whoever you want. The truth is, the human races were brought here. When they say races, there were 9 races brought to planet Earth. All right, during the golden age of Atlantis, everyone had 32 psychic abilities. There was no such thing as stealing, lying, cheating, eating animals, murder, rape, and all those things did not exist. And that's a fact. You don't have to believe it or not, but it didn't. Alien races came to this planet, saw what was happening, and didn't want it to be like that. All right. And then they caused the downfall of Atlantis. They'd caused a new programming that went on to the human race. We were taught killing. All right. Sacrifice and all those words. It wasn't a natural thing of a human. All right. Now, the 9 races that were here, color wasn't classified as a color, but we were different colors. Right now, there's only 4 colored races on this planet. All right, that means 5 races left. And the races that did leave were of different colors that you wouldn't probably accept. The blue race, the green race, the purple race, the crystal race, all those races left. They attained awareness, and they didn't stay here. And they moved into the next realm. All right. Whether there's a race inside the earth or not, that's up for you to decide whether you believe that or not. You either have to believe whether there's a race in Venus, which there's 5 people on planet Earth that say they're from Venus. They spent their whole life claiming that. Now, one famous one was brought into the White House, and that whole story was incredible. He had superpowers, and when he was in the White House, they made him use them. But funny, the one woman that claims to be from Venus has no psychic abilities. And she almost died a couple years ago. She's still out teaching. I'm not going to say everybody's name. If you're interested in these things, contact me personally, email me, text me, Skype me, whatever, because I want to keep that open right now. When I'm on an attack mode, I'll bring everybody's name into it, but when I'm not on an attack mode, I won't. I'm not trying to go after these people. Just want you to be aware of what's happening out there. Now, superpowers sound like they're incredible, and they would benefit the human race. Let's start with the one that's here. I'm going to go in this great circle. That's my routine. I go around in a circle, come back, and go around again. All right, let's start with considered one of the most important psychic abilities today, and that's called a healer, a psychic healer. All right, now, what does that mean, and is it real? Is it important? Is it beneficial? Let's start with a word called karma. Karma means what you create, you have to pay back. What you work off, obviously, you don't have to pay anything back. You create karma by killing, murdering, abusing, and things like that. You eliminate karma, which nobody talks about. You just can't eliminate it. Nobody. And this is a fact, people. You can believe what you want. I'm telling you the facts. You can't have somebody else take your karma away from you. They could become part of your karma, but they can't take yours away. I mean, if you owe for a bill and they pay your bill, that's kind of like earth karma, all right? But if you killed somebody, they can pray over you and throw you up in the air and pour holy water on you and do whatever they want to you. You're responsible for that karma. Jesus isn't going to take it away. Moses isn't going to take it away. Muhammad's not going to take it away. I don't care what people say or say about them. Now, I'm going to throw this into the mix right now before I get into it real deep, because you probably don't believe or care about one thing I'm saying, and you're going to stay here for a few minutes and then leave. But here's the thing. I'm aware of all my lifetimes back to Atlantis. I had one lifetime before that I was aware of, meaning I was an alien before I came to planet Earth and reincarnated into a human body. All right. So, out of hundreds of lifetimes, I only have 2 important lifetimes that actually created my reality for the present. You can come back and reincarnate over and over. You can have multiple families, people. You can be multiple color. You can be a black race, white race. Soul, which is what you are, is not a color. The body and where it comes from, it's like carrots and peas, and they change color. Apples, it can change the color. I mean, things like that. Potatoes are different colored. But does it change a potato to something else? No. Colored races came from different worlds, but they're very similar in almost every aspect of their DNA. Oh, well, science can only deal with 12 DNA strands right now. There's actually 32, and when they break that down, they're going to find 64. But that's not going to happen anytime soon, because there's certain ones right now mean we're alien, and they can't even figure that out. All right. I mean, all the different kinds of blood on this planet, there's not that many. And there's 2 different kinds that completely very few people on this planet have. And when somebody comes out and says we all came from the black race, they don't know what they're talking about and have no proof. They have their limited idea of their own created proof. To prove a difference to that, the Hopi people are one of the, well, there's different tribes, but the Hopi people are the only ones that have a completely different DNA in their DNA structure. So that obviously means they didn't come from black people. So there's one of the tribe that claims that they have a different DNA as well. I can't prove it. I don't know that. All right. And it wasn't proven anywhere that I know. So people could say a lot of things, like the Mayans claimed to bring the Hopi people to the United States, which was another lie. I knew the oldest Hopi person alive, Thomas Vinyaka, and he died a couple years ago. But he was the carrier of the Hopi prophecy. Now, just to show you similarities, Tibet has their prophecy. 4 Tibetan lamas came to the United States, met with a Hopi man, and they put the prophecy on the table. And it was exactly the same. As you know, the Tibetan people, their country was destroyed and taken over by China, and nobody helped them. The native peoples were taken over by who? People. All right. But the outcome, the death to the world, and that's in the prophecy. And when people say, well, I mean, I hear all these people talking about it, doomsday and end times. They're all real. The earth went through it so many times because the races that were here, sorry, this chair is horrible. I need to buy a new chair. The races that were here, all right, accounting systems make sense, right? Here's the thing. None of our history is important. None of what we do is important. Even if you're living in a peaceful phase, if we were all loving, compassionate people, what would it benefit? The idea of being able to walk down the street without getting beat up or robbed or anything. That's a benefit. But what does it do for soul, which is what you are, which is what you stay when this body dies? What does it do for that? Now, I hope you follow me. Like I said, I go around in circles. So here's the thing. When we go around, okay, Hopi people talk about their prophecy. There was 4 carriers in the past maybe 30 years, and 3 of them died. Thomas Minyaka died. He gave it to James Keamy. He died. He gave it to Grandfather David. I mean, it was passed down. But pass anything down, it changes. Now, this is going to sound bad, and I'm just saying it as a fact, not because I'm attacking things. I attack lies. When religions and when people come out and tell you lies, I feel sick when I hear it. It bothers me because people will believe it. People love the lies that people tell much more than the truth. Everything I'm telling you, you probably don't like it. And you probably don't want to hear it. And when I'm doing my workshop, I have a limited amount of people there. It's closed and it's private. But it's because people, well, I don't believe that. Well, then you don't need to move forward. Stay on planet Earth, live on planet Earth, reincarnate over and over. Where does it get you? Oh, I learned from experiences. Every lifetime, when you come into this lifetime, you're still going to touch something hot to burn yourself to know that it's hot. I mean, even the 100 monkey and all that kind of tried to prove that theory wrong, but it's still, you have to go through it again because you didn't learn. And once you learn things, you don't have to come back and do it again. And the concept of reincarnating over and over is a fallacy. You don't need to. And you really should not want to. I mean, if you're so much in love with a person and they die or you die, what good's coming back? You're not going to be with that person again. I mean, they create words, man does, to always protect himself. And like soulmates. Well, I found my soulmate. A soulmate means you'll be with them for a certain period of time. Soul is an individual entity. It travels by itself. It doesn't need anything else. Doesn't need food, doesn't need air, doesn't need water, doesn't need clothes, doesn't need any of those things. Doesn't need sex. Sex gets taken away from people by the third world. And men don't even want to hear that. No sex. What do you do up there? Nothing. See, concept of what's important, and I put it in the remarks for the show. I call it the one religion that I studied. It's called the 5 passions of the mind: lust, greed, anger, vanity, and attachment. They sound like words. I put it into actual things: sex, drugs, drinking, partying, cheap thrills, obscene sex. Those things keep man happy. Sports is not beneficial to the human race. When it's done for entertainment and pleasure versus money and power, people play sports to make money. People get hurt in sports. People do a lot of things in sport, hurt other people. Do we really need to play with balls? Most of the sports involve a little ball, steel ball, rubber ball, skin ball, or a big ball. And to spend hours in their life, well, I'm a football player, I'm a baseball player, I'm a hockey player. You play with a ball, and you think that's important. You get a big name, you may get big bucks, and people want to follow you and know you and all this. Playing golf, hitting a teeny little ball around, making millions and millions of dollars. So, like, morals, I don't know if people even understand what the word means. Give me 1 second. Sorry about that. Drinking a Coca-Cola. Trying to keep me awake. I've been up all night. I've been doing so many things lately. But when you deal with sport, you're dealing with ego. Native people had a game called the stick game. And they would play it all day. They would have a stick and they'd be hitting something around. But it wasn't about winning. It wasn't about making money. All right. When it becomes, well, I want to win. I want to win. Like the Mayans did when they created the theater. I went to it in Mexico. And they got these little concrete circles, well, whatever it was, however they made it. And they played this game where they try to hit the ball through that little teeny hole up on the side of the wall in this big stadium. But guess what? When the winner gets his balls through that, he gets sacrificed to the gods. See, mankind has never moved forward in 30,000 years. Now, people say, oh, we're so advanced. The only thing that advances on our planet, I say, are the toys people play with. Mainly men. Sorry, I get so itchy when I'm doing a show. I'm right near the window and it's been raining and all kinds of things today. But it's a mind job because, you know, we're moving forward. At least we tell ourselves we are. And we believe it. And we believe science. The virus isn't going to end anytime soon. I can't go into detail because I know they'll take this show that I'm doing right now off. They did one show I did because I mentioned a cure for it. There's cures, people. And you can't go into them. You can't say, go to a doctor, go to the hospital. You can't say, well, go do this or do that. Suddenly, you're a doctor and giving people something that they're not allowed to have. Truth. All right. So, in the interim, the virus is spreading, and now the second, third extension of it are coming out. Now, what are they going to do? Make us take more injections. Not us, people. And there might just come a point when they make everybody get it, or they go to a FEMA camp. And guess what happens there? Now, how can they do that? Well, if you don't have your vaccination, you might not be able to get your driver's license. Imagine that. Oh, if you not get your ID stamp with it, you can't go on a plane. Suddenly, you're a slave and a victim to an idea of a virus. Now, do your research, people. Look up what a virus is. Look how it affects the body. Look what it does to the body. Seriously. How it spreads and all those things. The new virus spreads much more easier and a lot of different things. So check out why and how and what would the difference in the virus be. Considering we know, and I can tell you people directly, were involved with how China got the original virus and how they breeded it into what it is. Oh, well, we can't say that. Yes, we can. The government knows that. But right now, we're at a really, really critical point in life. The world is. And it's basically China's preparing to take over the world. You don't have to believe me. It's real simple if you want to do your research. Second of all, the virus is affecting everybody. All right. Now, if you don't know this, in the United States, and I found the research, but you can't get the addresses of the research places that are working on viruses without a cure. Serious. Pull it up online. It's there. But they won't tell you where they are because they know people would object to that. All right. And why would they create a virus without a cure for it? Again, what government does is what rich people want to do. I'm not lying. The system was created by rich people for rich people, not middle class or poor people. And you think if multiple billionaires want to live next to 1,000 homeless people, take guess again. what they're going to do, what's happening. Now, when we bring the space program into it, oh, we're going to go to Mars? No, we're not. How many people do you think they're going to get to Mars in the next 10 years? How many ships? How many cities are they building up there? How fast can they do it? You need to get real. This is about truth. Looking for it, finding it, learning to be part of it. All right, the spokes on a wheel. Well, here's the thing. You're a spoke on a wheel when you're a spoke on a wheel. When you break away from the wheel, you're no longer a spoke. And by that I mean, once you realize that you're a soul and you leave the physical body, guess what? Suddenly you have the word freedom to do certain things. At every level of awareness you attain, you get more freedom in the realms that you go to. Most souls don't go past the astral plane. Every soul goes there when they die. I had 5 death experiences. I did so much out-of-body work. I could go into all that, but I don't have the time to do that right now. But most people think they have a mission in life. They don't, because they have no way to find out what their mission is or even who and what they are. Religion doesn't allow that. Even the story of Jesus, which I can go into detail, but when Jesus was tempted by Satan for 40 days and 40 nights, he could have gave in, but he didn't. But right now, you pull Bob Dylan and people, famous names, singers and stuff, they say they sold their soul to the devil. And then they suddenly got everything they wanted. Planet Earth is hell, people. It's not heaven. Never will be. Well, maybe in 10,000 years, or who knows how far. But we already did 30,000 years and just made it 10 times worse. All right. The wheel, I'll just show you the wheel. I don't know if you could see that. See the wheel? I can't even hold it up. All right. All right. The wheel, the circle that we live in. You go around and around into the center. But until you attain reaching the center, do you realize that you're not part of the wheel? Because then you leave the wheel. The other worlds that you go to are not like this world in any way. The astral plane is like, take this world and multiply it by 100 to make it better. You don't eat, you don't have to eat, you can be any age you want, you could go anywhere you want, any way you want, things like that. It's so different. One thing, you can't kill people in the astral plane. A soul that leaves here cannot go to the astral plane and kill people, just so you know. So, but if you already did, that karma has to be paid off here, not on the astral plane. I spend a lot of time there. I can go into those details if you want to know what happens to souls when they come there, how long they stay there. They don't stay there long. The average or maximum time is usually 10 years. But 10 years there is so different than 10 years here. When you leave your body from here, you could do a year's time in about 20 minutes of things in that time frame that's only 10 minutes of this time frame. So time changes, it grows. So when you get to the astral plane, you're going to be there a lot longer. And it's not a good thing, because there's many worlds beyond that soul wants to attain or go to. But as long as it keeps the programs, what people call consciousness, all right, mind, it locks them into this reality. And they focus on the word attachment, meaning souls of people that they're attached to, a reason to come back. Even if it's attached to cars or skiing or anything. It's an attachment that you won't have on the astral plane, and you don't need it. But mankind likes skiing, hockey, all sports, and all these other things, which have nothing to do with soul. Now, when I say when you go to the astral plane, you can pick an age. Most people pick an age between 26 and 36. Some people pick being a child. I don't know why. And you hear about in the Native Nation, they talk about the elders. Why would you want to be an elder? That means you're tied down to the idea of being an elder. All right, when you're the most freest thinking and everything else, you want to be a young body in your own consciousness, not a program consciousness. Then again, what's happening to the world right now, the word universal consciousness, which is another man-made idea. And you're going to hear so much, and it's growing greater and greater, because God's disappearing in the aspect of the average person's consciousness. They think they are more like God, even though they don't even know what God is at any level. And we're all one and connected to what? What would you want to be connected to? On any other person on this planet, what would you want to connect to about them? Their ignorance? What do you want to be part of? This universal energy that's ignorant, that allows the crime, the abuse, and everything that we do to be part of reality? It's a matter of just saying no. No more rape, no more murder, no more killing. But we can't say that, not the human race in general, because they're programmed, and that attachment to that word even keeps all here. And they're not moving forward because they're not understanding God. They're not understanding any of the other worlds where they can go, because you can't get past the astral plane until you attain a certain awareness. And I don't know if you know about the silver cord. I mean, I don't have time to get into all those things. If you're really interested in truth, and I'm putting my heart and soul here on the line, I stand before God only, nobody else, no other storytellers, other liars. I'm aware of my lifetimes, including being with Jesus when he was alive. I was a female. Mary Magdalene was my best friend. The truth is, he did marry Mary Magdalene, had a daughter. Whether you want to believe that or not, that's just, it's not religion. It's called life. He showed what love is by the way he acted with his family and his friends and his people. You can't teach love. Teach somebody how to love somebody. Oh, you make them happy when you're having sex. I mean, how do you teach love? You can't. All right. Then forgiveness. All right. It's another man-made word created, and they put it in the idea of what Jesus came here to forgive us all. You can't be forgiven for crime and sins that you created. It's karma. They use the word sin. Now, if you're a Christian and you're listening to this show, read Revelations. It's a short book. It's not long. Read it 3 times. And you're going to listen to why John talks about what sins can't be forgiven. In the Bible. In your Bible. Not mine. I don't believe in the Bible now. I was a Christian for 14 years. I became a born-again Christian for a year. I went through it all, trying to see if they had any truth about God and anything else, which they don't. God is this loving being. Does he love a man raping a child? Does he love a child enough to protect it from getting raped? Your perception, man's ego and programmed ideas about a word is ridiculous. The truth hurts. People don't want the truth. And Christians are very far from it. The Muslims are very far from it. The Muslims believe what Muhammad got from Gabriel. How does he prove that he was with actually an angel called Gabriel? I work with angels. I work with deities. The first thing is to learn how to prove who they are and what they are and where they're really from. Any demon, any entity could take a form on whatever you want them to be. And they could just say they are. Here's something that everybody should know. No deity, no angel, no entity can say they are God. They cannot. Not in the inner worlds. You'd say it here, but you can't say it on the inner worlds. That's one thing God's hardcore about. All right? So if you stand before a God that you think is a God, or whatever you think he is, say, are you God? Or what do you feel? And it'll say things to make you believe it. And the easiest way to get over that, I am all that you search for. I am that you believe me to be. Even Jesus said that. And he never said he was God, ever. One place in the Bible, it kind of says he said that, but he didn't. He never said he was God. Never claimed to be God. But when you're in school and everybody in the school calls you some name That's your name, and it's stuck on you. You can't just get rid of it. We're talking about serious. This person was the most spiritual person walking the planet, and people did not listen to him. His own people helped kill him. So what do you say spiritual? When you say religion, what religion? What religion's spiritual? Or the Catholics, what do you do? What do you do for God? Oh, well, we send money to charity. We do this. You know, people that send money to the native nation, 90% of it never gets the native people. The native people have been so abused. The black people claim they have been abused more, which they haven't. But the problem is the native people are still in slavery. Black people are out of it. Sure, there's prejudice out there. I mean, prejudice is a natural word, a real word, an important word. Oh, you're evil, you're prejudiced. Why? Why shouldn't I be? All right. If you grow up in a situation, say you were in Russia, and what they did to the Jewish people, what they did to the native people. I saw Wounded Knee happen. You don't think I should be prejudiced against the British and Spanish and the English? Why would I forgive them? Then they create a constitution which they stole from the native people and outlawed them from being part of it. And now all the laws are created for rich people. Then it was created for rich people because they didn't want poor people to be able to vote or be able to do anything. So it was a horrible system from a system that was working, because the native people, when they created, if you look at the dollar bill or whatever bill, and you see the eagle holding the arrows in its hand, in its talon, there's 5 arrows in there. Why? Because it was 5 native nations that formed together to form unity. And that's what the Constitution was created from. All right? But again, the eagle is the highest in the native nation, the highest thing that you attain when you're attaining realization. All right, there's so many things that mankind skips over, abuses, twists, or erases it. What they did to the native people, what they still do to the native people. South Dakota, 2 years ago, they killed 350 children within 1 year. I'm not going to go into it, but the facts are there. I mean, when Bush went out there and said, oh, we're going to do something for the native people, he sent 4 land surveyors out there. When they got out there, oh, we can't do nothing with this, and they left. And that was it. That's all they ever did. Then, fact, if you want facts of why there's a difference between native people and black people and Chinese people and everything else, they built these trailers for the native people. They put 10 out there. Guess what? The families were dying in them within 2 years. What they found out, they put a piping system that went from the exhaust back into the house. So when winter came and they turned on the heating system, it killed them. There's multiple lawsuits right now. I mean, it's horrible what man does in the name of what? Why did people have to kill all the native people? And realize this. There's probably like 550 tribes, but the original tribes, there wasn't multiple original tribes. There was one tribe in the United States first here that weren't brought here. Only one tribe. I mean, 2 other tribes say that, but they don't have the proof to prove it. The Hopi people do. All right. They came out from underground to meet with man, white man, which was a sorry thing. Sorry. But they did. Well, Hopi people weren't killers and fighters. And the government was trying to get the Hopi people to fight with the Apache people. I mean, it never happened. All right. The Sioux Nation, Lakota Nation, probably were the most persecuted because of Sitting Bull, Crazy Horse, Geronimo, and what happened. And even in their own religion, own race, and own belief, Mr. Sitting Bull sent Crazy Horse and Geronimo to their death in different ways. Crazy Horse was killed 2 weeks after he surrendered. Geronimo was taken around the United States as a puppet to have his picture taken everywhere as a puppet slave. So, man is evil. And the word that they like to use is the white race. White race, there's no such thing as a white race. I mean, Caucasian, they use different words, but they're different countries. Russian, Germany, Switzerland, Greenland, Finland. They're different people. They're lighter skin. It's shades. We're just shades of colors. I mean, we're shades from light brown to dark brown. That's all we are. I mean, there's no such thing as Chinese yellow skin and red skin and all these other words. All right. In our present time, in Atlantis, there were 9 colors: the blue race, the green race, the purple race. I mean, and each one of those people became a deity. I'm not going to say God. I use the word little God for people that don't understand what a deity is. I work with 3 different deities. They're real. Am I a Buddhist? No, I'm not. My partner's a Buddhist, but I'm not. I don't believe in any kind of dogma. Dogma of saying prayers and saying this and praying to a picture and stuff and all those kind of things. Praying to save the world. We can't save the world. We could do good things and try. But until a certain level of awareness is attained by everybody, it can't happen. And you know why it can't happen? We have to have the same God. If everybody has a different God, we will never agree and be part of the same thing. Sorry, it's just like that. It's not my fault. It's not your fault. But you can live in your reality and make it the best you can. That's all you can do. You can't change somebody else's reality. You can't change their karma. When you marry somebody, your karma gets united. It doesn't take away their karma. All right? What you do, good things. What do you consider good things? Mankind creates, well, guy fell down, I helped him up. I fed a homeless person. A good thing is a permanent thing. If you feed a homeless person a meal one day, is that a good thing? Oh, yes, he had a meal today. Well, he's going to starve tomorrow because he's looking for somebody to give him a meal the next day and he's not going to get it. Even when you feed birds, if you feed a bird for a couple of years, a bunch of birds, and then you move, guess what? Those birds are stuck because now they don't have a real diet. They don't have the same diet they had. Now they have to learn, which they might not. So when we think we help people and we do things to make things better, it's by our limited viewpoint of what's better. Now, this is just the opposite of what I was saying before. Children go through abuse. It's a part of their karma they have to pay. All right? When they find out what their past lives were, what they did and stuff, they will realize what their karma is. But that doesn't happen in a lifetime. Usually not in 2 or 3 lifetimes. And then again, sometimes it's never found. When you start reincarnating 100 times, you didn't find that. Religion teaches you what? Forgiveness. No judgment. Well, and that's to me, and this is my viewpoint, judgment is the most important thing you have. Do you want to hang around with a bunch of drug addicts, or you want to hang around with a bunch of religious people, or you want to hang around with a bunch of friends? I mean, oh, well, that's not judgment. Yes, it is. You're judging the people that you're hanging with. Who and what they are. What kind of people they are. You judge everything. When you eat ice cream, well, I don't like chocolate. Why? There's a reason. When you don't like a certain race, there's a reason. I'm not saying you don't get programmed by parents and people do that. But then again, if you have experiences, I could go into 100 experiences with people that I'm prejudiced against right now. So I should forgive them all and say, well, it's just those people? When it's a percentage of people. Now, the truth about Native people is that you can't find it. Every story you read in school was written by a white person who made it okay to kill Native people. So why would they tell you a story that they're spiritual people or that they're anything other than they're the devil, or they're Satan's helper or Satan's worker, whatever? When the Christians came here, they named the Native people Satan. That's why they're always related as redskin, because the devil was red, wherever they got that from. So the programming is incredible. through history when it comes to religion, God, and spirit and life. But then you got countries with different gods. Why do you think Buddha had his own teaching? He had his own belief system, and he started teaching it. It was different. But why did China destroy Tibet? Because they both had a different God. A different Buddha, I should say, sorry. Buddha didn't believe in God. All right, they had a different Buddha. They both had baby Buddhas, and China wanted their Buddha to be the main Buddha. And when Tibet had their Buddha, there's movies on that. You could watch it, how they tried to kill the one and all that. That's true. I mean, it's not fake, but it has nothing to do with soul, has nothing to do with God. It's only ego, people. You know, I have a hard time because, you know, my life, I'm not going to live much longer. Not that I want to. I know where I'm going. It's 1,000 times better, people. Imagine that. Oh, well, it is. Even going past the astral plane into the third world is incredible. All those things that exist here don't exist there. Hate, anger, killing, murder, rape, all those words don't exist. It's not needed. And there's nothing you could do with them if you even had them there. When you become more energy, more light, you're not a solid body. You can't take a fork and stick your finger or anything like that. And then you have things that you work on that are beyond conception here. Science is playing with a proton, neutron, electron, and magnetic fields, electromagnetic fields, radiation fields. All that's part of the karma of the physical reality's karma. And the great word was the matrix. It's all the matrix. The talon of yes is the strength, but the eye of the eagle is it's also the thunderbird is going into the heart of spirit. So yeah, I went through it. I did that. I did just about anything you can imagine in this reality. I'm glad I did, but each one opens the doorway for another level of awareness to step inside yourself. If you hold on to any level, you'll never get past that door, meaning the astral plane. That's why the silver cord connects all souls to this body, the body that they're in. Otherwise, these souls would leave and go into the other worlds automatically. But there are deities, and they make sure you don't. So when you hear the deity stories, if you believe in Hare Krishna and all those kind of stories going back to the Hindu religion about Shiva, Durga, Kali, and all those kind of beings, it's mostly sexual and power. All right. Again, God is never spoken of. Now, if you know anything about the Ten Commandments, I mean, whether you believe them or not, they don't hurt people. They're beneficial if you understand them. But they're only one part of a sentence. When it says honor thy mother and father, it's the reverse. They have to honor thy children. It's always only parts of things were put in the Ten Commandments because he only had a limited tablet to write on. And he didn't understand anything. Sorry, people, Moses wasn't as bright as they make him sound to be. He didn't know why he walked these people around and around and around in circles. Because they all died before they got to the so-called promised land. And what did they do when they got there? Killed everybody that was there. That's not a religion. It's not spiritual. It's not anything. It's man's ego and the effects of karma. So, you know, do you want truth? You want to listen to these UFO people talking about, well, I can levitate a piece of paper. Wow, what's that going to do? I can change somebody's DNA. Do you have the right to do that? You know, remote viewing is against the spiritual laws. Astral projection is different because you're going into the astral plane. Remote viewing means you're trying to go into somebody else's house or somebody else's yard, somebody else's place. And that's called remote viewing. All right. And the army created to work with that, to use that. And they do. The movie that came out about it was The Men Who Stare at Goats. Watch it. It's cheapy, but it gives you a rough idea how he used energy and just killed the goat by staring at it. All right. things that man does are usually then not beneficial to the world itself. Every invention we create is not beneficial. I don't want to go on too long, but Einstein worked with an alien race, people. You don't have to believe it. But he was given false information. All right. Tesla worked with an alien race. He was given weapons of destruction. He was given 200 inventions. 50 of them were actually destructive weapons. The most advanced weapons on the planet today. Why? Okay, the Philadelphia Experiment was a movie. Watch it. Read the book. I mean, it's exaggerated, twisted. Things change. And when anybody writes about something else that they weren't in, I was friends. I knew the only person that was involved with the Philadelphia Experiment that went back in time and came back forward in this lifetime. And I could go on to that story, which is an incredible story, but a real story. We did do time travel, and we can, which is another against the spiritual laws of this reality. When we play God, we play what we're not supposed to be. All right? No one, a growing boy, little, play house and their mother and father. All right? They're playing because they know that they feel that that's the most important thing they can become. But when you play God, you think you're going to become God, the most important thing in every universe level of awareness and consciousness and place of existence or non-existence, and you don't even know what it is. You don't know what it feels. You don't know what it thinks, and you don't know why it has us here in the first place, which you need to learn. Why did you come here? Why are you on planet Earth? Why do you keep reincarnating? Why do you think these families are so important? What are they doing? Are any of them doing anything for God? Well, do you know one thing you can do for God? Focus on it. On it. Not on your ego. Not on a book. Not on a writing. Not on somebody telling you. All right? I give you a few techniques. You don't need many. If you want the truth, people, I'm doing this workshop. I did six classes already, and I have a lot of the hardcore stuff to get into yet. Now, I was going to charge for the class, and I decided not to. I left it open for donation. All right, but I'm not here to make money. I'm doing it to bring truth to anybody that wants to move beyond the physical level of programmed consciousness. And why would you want to be part of a universal consciousness? If you knew what God was, then you might want to consider, well, I'd want to be part of God's consciousness. But then again, it's not what you perceive it to be. God created dinosaurs. God created the roach. Would you create another dinosaur? Would you create another roach? Do you think God would? See, the concept that man portrays, they'll never understand God because they're not looking. You can't find something if you don't look in the right place. You know, when they say there's 3 doors, which one do you pick? Well, you need to know what's behind all 3 doors. Why pick something? Because you're just picking something because it's there. You need to know where you're going to go. And if you don't, guess what? You might end up in the wrong place, following the wrong thing. I listen to every speaker I can in the UFO world and the spiritual world, so-called spiritual world. People that say they're spirituals, people that say they're religious. They cannot, not one of them, could talk about God. Now, my debate with one person, conversation with God. So you ever want to go live on an actual debate in front of people, anytime, saying God only cares about love is the most ridiculous thing. If God wanted everything to love each other, that's all we would have had. But we were given free will, people. What's that mean? Killing and murdering and raping and building buildings and building toys. That's all. To most people. Has nothing to do with the higher levels of God. Are you ready to move forward? Do you want to? Or do you want to listen to these people? Now, we're in 2021. All right. I've been involved in the UFO world since 1958, when I saw my first ship and it was coming to abduct my brother. 12, I saw my first alien. All right. But again, I work with people that were losing their children to abduction. I wasn't making books, and I wasn't trying to make money off of it. I was trying to help them deal with it. I was doing hypnosis when I was 14. I did mass hypnosis at 14. I had all my friends hypnotized. I could hypnotize any one of them anytime by saying a certain word. I did things that nobody else did. I did things because I just did it from what I felt was right or the way I should do it. It was inner awareness. And we all have it because soul's within us. And it is us. But the mind is not us. And the mind likes to control what's inside it. Meaning soul. Soul and mind do not agree on much at all. And mind doesn't allow soul to talk much either. But I'll give you something. I'll come to my workshop. I'll give you a simple technique that'll help you understand the simplest way to understand that and make it useful and make it save your life at any given time. There's things that people don't want to talk about. Why? Well, I won't make money off of it if I do this. I can't make money. You know money's not important, right? We all know that. We're keeping getting programmed more and more. Money's more important. And then making it important in our lives is if we don't have it, we'll be out in the street or buried and that's it. Because they don't care. But, people, things I want you to look up and find out about. Where are you in your spiritual growth? What do you understand about God? What do you understand about death? Do you know anything about the underground cities in the United States? Do you? They're real, people. Do you know anything about them? Well, yeah, why? Why do you think they're separate and not one person in politics can talk about it? Why they cannot talk about aliens? All right, there's multiple things, people, that we just bypass. Most people just bypass. Well, we don't need to know because it's probably not real. And then people that don't want to believe are just stuck in limbo. They sure don't know anything about God or even believe in God. And if you don't believe in God, here's the first question. Why would you want to be alive? To live 125 years to die? And then what? Be dead? Oh no, I'm eternal. Why? How do you believe you're eternal if you don't know it? Somebody told you you're eternal? Somebody told you Superman. Can you do anything Superman can do? Don't believe anything you're told. Don't believe anything anybody else says, reads to you, writes down, or anything. Because it's probably not close to the truth. If we were real and we were aware, we would know things. But we don't. Satan is real, people, too. He has an army, just like China. And guess what? He affects much more people than China's doing right now, at a really evil way. So, I'm not here to change your thinking. I just want you to be able to focus on the truth if that's what you want. Your truth, not mine. You need to find your truth. I know you're asking, I just read that question, quantum physics. All right. Tesla invented it into this reality. It wasn't a good thing, and it's not. All right. When you start, China and Japan, they're going to be crossbreeding animals and humans. All these things. Quantum physics just means going into a different dimension. So it's not a good thing. That's what the Philadelphia experiment was all about when Tesla created it. All right. It's basically playing in the test tube or a fish tank. You're inside this fish tank and you can pick up sand and you can build little houses. You can throw it out of the water. You can do things, but that's all you can do. You're not going to go beyond that wall that surrounds the fish tank. And that's why this is hell. You're locked into it. And you're not going to get out easily, especially if you're not looking for truth. If you're happy with lies and happy with somebody saying, well, oh, I'm going to heal you. I'll take all your karma away. I'm going to do this. I've been trying to get in touch with Oprah for 25 years. And she claimed that Deepak Ekatoli taught her that she doesn't have any karma and she doesn't have any ego. Really? You do need ego, people. But there's good ego and bad ego. Learning the spiritual laws, even one of them helps you incredibly. All right? Whereas if you don't know what's right or wrong. Really. You know, it's like you got two jobs. You got an offer for working for the post office and an offer for working for the phone company. Which one you pick? Which one's right? God, which one's right? Well, they're not right because that's not what you're here for. But you believe it to be. Well, I can make lots of money. I could buy a big house. And it's not about attaining spiritual awareness. When Jesus was alive and he told his disciples to leave their families and follow him, why would he do that? I mean, he was a man. He thought and felt things much more at a greater level than most people, but he believed in goodness. He believed in compassion. He believed those words. But when it came time to make a decision if they believed in him or not, they all turned against him. Mary Magdalene was his wife. She didn't turn against him. She had his daughter. Jesus' mother was never anything important in that time frame. The Immaculate Conception, well, let's not even go there. But she was never in the front line, where Mary Magdalene was. Mary Magdalene had to teach the disciples what Jesus couldn't teach them. And Peter himself couldn't understand a single word she was saying when he was trying to teach it. He would have never met Jesus if he didn't learn what Mary Magdalene was teaching him. That's a fact. And I'm saying that from my life. Take my life from me if I'm lying to you about that. But he finally listened and understood what she was learning, and that's how he met with Jesus. So all these little things that are in the Bible in aspects, because man at that time didn't understand it. They didn't understand God. Why do you think he had to say Father? They all had a father. They could understand that, but a super being in a higher world that made us, that's people can't even accept and understand it now. We're talking about 2,000 years ago? They were fishermen. They were farmers. What did they know about anything? Quantum physics? Really? No, they didn't. People, you know, my line's open. You want to ask me questions? Hawksblood1, AOL.com. Text me. Skype, Hawksblood11. Friend me. You want to ask me a question? Want to talk? Please. Want to come into one of the workshops? Please do. But ask questions. Find out what you think you should know or you don't. And don't believe everything you think you know is real, because it's not. You don't know why Jesus came here. And it wasn't to take your sins away. It wasn't to forgive you. All right, a simple answer to the truth to that. He came here to teach you how to find God. Not how to find himself. All right, people. I don't want to sound like a preacher, which I probably better preacher than anyone else out there right now, because they can't talk about God at any level. All right. Tommy Hawksblood, you heard it here. Please send this link to all your friends if you can, if you want to. Maybe they will like it, get involved, listen. I do a show on Tuesdays with a woman from England, and it's all about UFOs and aliens because she's been abducted half of her life. So I cover all sides of the picture. Aliens are real. UFOs are real. Bigfoot's real. I was a foot away from a Bigfoot. It's real. So demons are real. I did possessions. All right. I didn't do the possessions. I did the depossession. But yeah, it's all real. How far and how much you open yourself to it is a different story. You could stay in a box and still not grow. But it's up to you, people. Tommy Hawksblood here. Hope you have a good day, good night, wherever you are. Look for the truth always. Don't accept the lies. The virus is real, and it is not. People will die because of the aspect of it, whether they got the shot or not. All right, till next time. Tommy Hawksblood here, signing out. Thanks everybody for coming in. It's always a pleasure to see people come in and go. They go because they heard too much or whatever. But whatever it is, people, I'm as real as it gets. I'm as real as it gets, people. All right, till next time.